up the champagne, pop. It's my house, come on, turn it up.
Welcome to another edition of Wings Weekly. Jay Kleinknecht here, along with assistant coach Anthony Bone. And Coach Bone, great to have you on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You bet. Coach Langer, of course, over at Top Prospects, and we'll kind of talk about that, how the day has gone a little bit in just a little while. But Coach Bone, I wanted to talk a little about the weekend that was before we look forward to the weekend that is. Friday night, unfortunately, a 4-2 loss there in Bismarck. Bismarck, their dang goaltender, Isaac Kangas, has just really found a way to limit the amount of scoring, chances, the amount of goals that you guys are able to score. But then on Saturday night, a bit of a bounce back, so again, we'll kind of break those down. But Friday night, pretty tough and a weird situation midway through the game. Forrest Leger, the goaltender, of course, that started the game, was ejected with a 5-minute major, and Artu Kamala comes in off the bench cold. It's a tough spot for anybody to come in when you haven't even broke a sweat and face a 5-on-3. And the second goal that was allowed was actually a redirect from about 3 feet in front of the crease. So tough sledding, I guess you'd say, for R2 off the bench, but he seemed to settle in nicely as the rest of the game went along. Dimoff and Strada both scoring goals on Friday night. Saturday, different game altogether. I mean, I think, Coach Langer expected it. You guys probably always expect. Seems like Bismarck comes out and they're hitting hard. They want to set the tempo and set a pace where they're going to take the flow away from the game and try to push everything out to the walls, and they're hitting anything that moves basically. And it's kind of a bit of an adjustment as the game goes along, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this division's so tight that each team from top to bottom, it's you got to bring your A game every night, and Bismarck's a team trying to battle its way into the playoffs, and we got to be prepared for that. And Friday night, unfortunate events, and but there's positives out of Friday night as well. 2 power play goals in the third, and battling back from behind again, and things happen, and you just got to bounce back.
For sure. And like you were saying, Saturday night a bounce back. Speaking of that, you're 4-1, and you guys able to score 3 goals in about 8 minutes, I think it was. So that was awesome to be able to see the guys. I've talked about it with Coach Langer a handful of times in broadcasts and so on about the tenacity of these guys. There really isn't any quit in it. They're even when they're down, you don't see that kind of plateau or that fall off that you kind of do from some players sometimes. These guys are working constantly.
Yeah, no, we got a resilient group. We talk about it every day. Just just keep playing.
Yep.
And that's what happened on Saturday night, and we just kept playing, and you get a bounce here, momentum, and fortunate enough to come out with a point and keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back, ends up in a shootout, and unfortunately, again, Bismarck ends up winning it. But some very positive things that can be taken from Saturday night's matchup, as you mentioned. And one of them, I think, as we talked about, that ability to stay in a game, to come back. Again, Isaac Kangas strong in the shootout and throughout that game, but 2 power play goals Friday night, as you mentioned, and you guys had your kill strong. There was Bismarck, just for whatever reason, seems to be able to score shorthanded goals. I think they've got 11 this year, leading the league, or among the top of the league anyway, in shorthanded goals. So that was unfortunate, but as you mentioned, you come away with a point and able to get a little distance between yourselves and the Bruins, for example. We're now in 6th place. And that's who you guys will face Friday and Saturday here at the ODI Center. We'll talk a little bit here in a moment about what to expect from the Bruins, and also a little bit about preparation and how that works with Coach being gone, and with Bossert and Dimoff and Rue and Carroll all being gone over to Top Prospects too. It's an interesting week, and we'll discuss that in just a bit. But one thing I wanted to ask you, Coach, and this kind of actually plays a little bit to the tenacity and the resilience of these players. But you guys go on an 8-game win streak, and things are rolling, and now it's tough going, I guess. And last week I talked with Coach Langer about, I guess the possibility of kind of falling into a funk of guys, maybe starting to get zapped the energy and just kind of feeling like things are going downhill. And I talked with Mackie and Kelly too about their roles as leaders to try to make sure that doesn't happen. When you 2 games, out of 3 ends up being is one thing, but then you end up looking now at 4 games. How much of a concern is that?
It's a long season. There's
Yeah.
ups and downs. Every part of the season is just, finding a way to get back on track as quickly as possible. And, with the group that we do have and the kind of resilience we show at this point of the year, even though we came on the wrong end Saturday night, you got to feel pretty good about the group that we got going into, the stretch run and hopefully playoffs, and that's what matters.
Yeah.
Just keep improving every day, and and trying to find ways to win hockey games.
Right. Well, and as you mentioned, I mean, it's a long season, and there's a lot of hockey yet to be played for sure. I'm not trying to shed any doubt on anything or anything. I'm just saying, that sometimes, I feel like, especially the age group of these guys, it'd be easy enough to kind of go, oh, what happened, But you don't see a lot of that, and I think around town too, there's a lot of positivity about bouncing back, and it's great to have the Bruins come in town, have some home cooking here too, coming up.
It's always good to play in front of the fans. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, these people it's awesome.
Yep.
It's great to have that.
For sure, and a little extra energy from the boys, no doubt, when the Odies, rocking.
Yeah.
So great opportunity to get back on the win column coming up here against the Bruins. Although I'm kind of led up to the week.
Yeah.
With Coach being gone, missing some key players and so on. How do you prepare? What happens this week as you get ready for the Bruins on Friday and Saturday?
Well, Scott and I are always constant communication, and the plan doesn't change as far as our preparation from day to day and workouts and things like that, and alters practice a little bit with missing some guys, and
Sure.
but the game plan is the same and the prep is the same. Being ready for Friday night is the most important thing, and that's what we're doing.
Right. Well, what do the Bruins bring? And it's been a little bit, since you guys have seen the Bruins. Well, I think it's not too terribly long, about 3 weeks now. And they've been struggling a little bit. They've got their special teams too, a little bit suspect. They've had, they have some issues that they're trying to overcome. What do you expect to see out of the Bruins?
I think we should be ready for a team that is trying to fight its way into playoffs, just like Bismarck.
Yeah.
And every game is going to be playoff atmosphere. Joke around a little bit. Playoffs in the Central Division started in January.
That's true. That's a good point.
Then that's what we got to expect, a team that's trying to battle its way back and compete, and we got to be prepared to face that and play Wings hockey and execute the way we know how.
Absolutely. Well, we talked about top prospects. Of course, as I mentioned, Carson Dimoff, Carter Rue, Tyler Bostard, and Andy Carroll are over there along with Coach Langer. Today, the Central beat the Midwest, and Andy Carroll with a goal. Whether or not it's statistically credited that way, he scored it. So congratulations to Andy Carroll, and a big goal for the Central Division. And they're going to go ahead and play again tomorrow at 1 o'clock Central Time, and you can watch that on Hockey TV. Check out the boys, and then I think at 3 is when the selects play.
Yeah.
Okay. So Carson will be playing with the selects at 3 o'clock. So folks, if you've got nothing going on, you want to check it out on Hockey TV, cheer on the Central and the selects on tomorrow afternoon as they can continue on. Then, of course, back to action Friday and Saturday night. I want to make sure and mention that Friday night, Hub City Radio is the corporate sponsor. It's Parents Weekend, and all the players' families or those that are able to come will be in the OD. That's kind of cool too. I mean, not only do you have the crowd and its energy, but guys playing with their families here and stuff. That's kind of a special night, huh?
Yeah, that's always great. Like we talk about, we have our Wings family here, each guy in the dressing room, but we're an extension of their families back home, and
Sure.
the Wings family is a little more extended with their parents and
Right.
siblings and whatnot. So it's always great to have everyone in the building.
Yeah, and I'm sure all the Wings fans will be welcoming them. Always popular skate with the Wings after the game on Friday night, so bring your skates out, and heck, even if you don't know how to skate, plenty of people just walk out on the ice, shake hands, get autographs, and so on as well. That's Friday, March 3rd versus the Bruins, and then Saturday against the Bruins. Parents Weekend continued. The corporate sponsor is REA Hybrids. The away jersey auction following the game with Val Jark of Jark Worley Auctions, and the post-auction party at Buffalo Wings and Rings. That's Friday and Saturday coming up here at the OD Ice Center. Those games at 7:15, scheduled for puck drop again at 7:15, and you can catch them on 94.1 The Rock or Hockey TV or HubCityRadio.com. That's going to end the first segment of today's show. We'll have some players when we come back after this.
Let's make a taco. No, seriously. Start with a tortilla, soft tortilla. Warm it, kiss it. Don't kiss it. Chicken? How about tequila lime chicken? Now we're cooking. Slice this, peel that, snip those. Salsa? Verde. Cheese? Cotija. Oh, forgot to mention. Guac. That's better. See, anyone can make a taco, but we're not anyone. We're Qdoba, and these are knockout tacos. Qdoba Mexican Eats. Choose flavor.
Welcome back to Wings Weekly. Jay Klein Connect with you, and as promised, got a couple of players here. Logan Genuine, Romeo, Michigan, and Keaton Spillum from Phoenix, Arizona, joining me. Boys, I appreciate you taking some time to join us here on Wings Weekly.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? You guys are actually probably the latest or among the latest two additions to the Wings. So I always ask players about their adjustment coming from, for example, Arizona to a cold climate like this, or in a smaller town, flat and windy. I say that to everybody pretty much. But in your guys' case, you're newer than what a lot of the guys are, and certainly Logan for sure. How has the transition to Aberdeen been treating you guys? And what are your thoughts about the community as a whole?
I mean, it's pretty similar to Michigan, I would say.
Yeah.
At least the winters and whatnot. But I mean, it's been pretty good for me. I mean, the transition, everybody's been awesome. The team's been great. Coach has been awesome, and so I mean, I've loved it here so far, and I look forward to the rest of the season here.
For sure. Keenan, how about you? I know you've got a little more seasoned, I guess, in Aberdeen compared to Logan, but still, came in. What was it, about 2 months ago now? 3 months ago?
Yeah, 2-3 months ago.
Okay. Okay, so, and again, coming from Arizona, what are your thoughts about Aberdeen as a whole and, the cold temps and so on? Is it a bit of a shock, or have you had experience playing in other places where it's cold and you've got to deal with the wind chills and stuff?
Yeah, it's definitely been an adjustment for sure. I didn't really have a big winter jacket to say before coming here, so I definitely had to get one of those because it's definitely a lot colder up here than Arizona, but it's been great.
Yeah.
The community is awesome. I love playing here. Every night, all the fans come out. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, excellent. And Coach Bone and I were just talking a little bit about, getting an opportunity to play at home here, coming up against the Bruins and get the home crowd cheering, and adds a little extra energy, I would imagine, huh?
Oh yeah. We're all looking forward to being at home again. So.
Right on. Well, one of the things I was talking with Coach Bone about too, and was of course the Bismarck games, and we kind of broke down how the way things went and so on. But Isaac Kangas has just been playing really well, and you guys have been used to scoring 4 or 5, heck, even 7 goals against Bismarck previously, and then he comes in and kind of is giving you a little bit of not fits, but some trouble. Do you grip the stick a little tighter when you or maybe feel a little frustration as a team as a whole? Do you think when you know that he's kind of been standing on his head?
Yeah, I mean, he was actually in Waterloo when I was there, so I was good buddies with him. So that made me grip the stick a little bit tighter, maybe. But I think we all wanted it pretty bad. There's no doubt about that. And after him shutting us out on Teddy Bear Night, I mean, that was tough. So I think this weekend we were pretty excited to get into it, but I mean, he stood on his head.
Yeah.
So
it's been strong, but I can't take anything away from the young man. He's doing a fine job. But you guys were able to bounce back Saturday night. How big is that? I talked with Coach Bona a little about it too, and in weeks past even I've talked about your guys' resilience and ability to come back, and it really seems like when you're down, you don't play like you're down, and you play like you guys feel like you have a chance to win every single game. Keenan, do you think that's a fairly accurate statement? You guys, on the bench, regardless of what the scoreboard says, you feel like you're in every game?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. I mean, with the depth of our team, I mean, we can roll 4 lines on any team. Mm-hmm. And when we're down, it's just like we're just a couple shots away. And I feel like teams are starting to get a little afraid when we start to come back on them. They're like, oh, here we go again.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think that even the crowd and everything in Bismarck, when it's tied up, boy, the mood changed dramatically. And And of course, it goes into the overtime and then shootout, but the guy's able to pull a point away. But I had to laugh a little bit at the reaction that some of the crowd was giving, because it's like, oh, here you go, you can't count them out. They're the comeback kids are on the move again. So it was a very exciting game and awesome for some of the Wings fans. And surprisingly, there were about 15 to 20 of them there that made the trip to Bismarck for the weekend. So they were, I kind of kept my eye on some of them that were going nuts when when that fourth goal goes in. So a pretty awesome game for sure. We've talked a little about the Odie itself as a the fan base and so on, and I know that you guys really appreciate the energy that the fans bring. What is it, I mentioned previously a little bit with Coach Bone from a coaching standpoint, what it's like this week going in to a home game with having top prospects going on and having teammates gone and your head coach gone. Does it change anything for you guys, or does it just kind of feel like the same old routine, and you're just getting spending the week preparing for a team that's coming in?
I mean, it's kind of the same. Say we had a good practice, and just keep going. I mean, just do everything the same. I mean, obviously they're not here, and we gotta. It's hard to practice without Carson, because we're missing a line mate, but they'll get back Thursday, I think, right? So I mean, did they get back Thursday? So I mean, they'll be back, and we'll just go on Thursday, Friday. We'll skate and get ready for the weekend. There's nothing really you can do about it.
Right.
So
you just roll with the punches, because like you said, there's nothing you can do. I've asked, one of the things that a lot of the fans that watch Wings Weekly and so on, they like to get a little insight into the locker room and kind of see what you guys are like away from the buckets and off the ice. But and I ask sometimes who's the silliest or who does this and that. Who do you guys think has got the hottest head? Who's the quickest to get to I don't know, blow have their temper get out of control on them?
that's Ray.
I was just gonna. I think I got a feel this might be Rafer again. I think I asked a similar question a couple weeks ago, and that was the first thing that they the players who I had at the time mentioned too. What do you guys like to do away from the ice? I talked with Gage and Jack last week, and I know you guys, a lot of you at least, enjoy going to the movies on Tuesdays and stuff. Do you have any hobbies or anything that you guys like to do?
On Sundays, I'd say we shoot skeet a lot, so we do that. I don't know, we just kind of hang out with each other, and some of them have jobs, but other than that, just hanging out and doing whatever. Really.
I know. You spend your whole life playing hockey, and that's all you know, then just find a little extra time.
Exactly.
Well, all right. Well, I tell you what, we're not going to keep you guys too much longer here. Again, appreciate you coming on and joining us and getting to hear a little about your hockey careers and your what you guys like to do and how you prepare for the week. And that's like I said, one of the things that fans often like to hear about. Big weekend coming up, folks. Excuse me. Friday, March 3rd versus the Austin Bruins, Parents Weekend. And corporate sponsor is Hub City Radio. Skate with the Wings after the game. Skate with the Wings is always popular for the fans to come out and get a chance to talk with you guys, maybe get some autographs and stuff. So bring your skates, and again, as I said earlier, if you don't have skates, lots of people just walk on out. Saturday, March 4th versus the Austin Bruins, Parents Weekend continue. The corporate sponsors are Ray Hybrids, and with the away jersey auction following the game with Val Jark of Jark Worley Auctions, and the post-auction party at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Friday and Saturday, March 3rd and 4th, here at the ODI Center, 7:15 puck drop. You can catch the games on 94.1 The Rock, HubCityRadio.com, and of course on HockeyTV.com. Again, best of luck to the players that are over at Top Prospects. They play tomorrow at 1 Central. You can check that out on Hockey TV. Carson Dimoff playing selects at 3 o'clock, but Carter Rue and Tyler Bossert and Andy Carroll playing on the Central team tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So best of luck to them. That'll pretty much wrap up this week's Wings Weekly.
Open up the champagne, pop. It's my